They introduce new measures all the time. You can come study and then go back to your country. If I were you, I'd be confused as hell. I found some interesting jobs for you. Aromatherapist, herbalist. I mean, if you've always wanted to live on a farm, welcome to Canada. Long time no see. This is Yulia and welcome to my channel. So let's recap the previous year. IRCC has increased the financial requirements for international students. IRCC introduced a student cap. Some programs were excluded from PGWP eligibility. And on top of that, IRCC decided that you need to take an English test after you finish your studies. Did I forget something? Honestly, with the recent changes, if I were you, I'd be confused as hell. What am I supposed to do? What should I do next? Should I pick a program in demand? Should I switch my studies? Should I pick a different country to study in? Don't worry, I got you. I'm gonna answer all of your questions in this video. I spoke to my friends in HELP who are experts in studying in Canada, and they shared some helpful insights. If your plan is to study in Canada, well, you should not miss those answers. And make sure to watch this video till the very end if you want to learn more about special discounts for international students in Canada. And let's get started. First things first, let's take a look at the changes. Earlier this year, IRCC introduced a student cap and provincial letters for international students. That means fewer students can come and study in Canada, and each year the number will drop. With the introduction of the provincial letters, government wants to make sure that the students who come to Canada are top-notch students. But does that actually mean that fewer students gonna come to Canada and you have higher acceptance rate? Let's ask Alexa, the head of student success at HELP.
That is a really great question. We've kind of experienced a little bit of both. So the cap has definitely affected international students and the way they kind of view Canada. The way that the government announced the 2024 cap back in January and then the 2025 and 2026 cap more recently caused a lot of anxiety amongst students. What I will say is we did experience a little bit of a lower volume of permit submissions. But all that being said, the majority of our partners, our school partnerships, they did not even issue all of their PALs. So they still had a ton of spots open for 2024. And we're kind of expecting the same thing for 2025. So I would say the cap affected students and it caused a big volume of students to be a little bit more nervous about applying to Canada. So in return, there actually is still a lot of seats available within 2024 and then 2025 because of this. So there's still a lot of students coming to Canada to study, and HELP is definitely ready to help students get on the best path for success.
The whole idea of introducing those measures is to help Canada labor shortages. But does that mean that some programs will have a higher acceptance rate than others? Well, the answer is actually yes and no.
We've definitely noticed that programs that map to the government labor shortages, even before they announced it, a lot of the times would get faster study permit approvals. But in terms of higher acceptance rates, it really depends on the designated learning institution or the university or college. There are certain programs that universities offer that actually just have very few seats for international students. And so their acceptance rates are really low because they'll have a high volume of students all fighting for 20 or 30 seats in that program. But there will then be other DLIs that will have a lot more seats available for a similar program. And a great example of this is kind of Masters of Nursing or any healthcare program. Some institutions offer very few seats to international students. And then other institutions, for example, Northwest College, actually have specific diplomas for people that were educated internationally. What I will definitely say is that I project that programs that align with the new rules will definitely be much more popular, which is kind of the point of making the rules. So in turn, they might have higher rejection rates. However, speaking to our school partners, we do know that a lot of our partners are going to try and open up these programs to have more availability for international students. So the programs that I'm kind of speaking to that have been affected by the new PGWP rules are things like healthcare, science, technology, engineering, and math or STEM programs, trades, as well as agriculture programs. And the intent here is that Students are coming to Canada to be educated on the Canadian healthcare system and then be set up for success to get a job in the Canadian healthcare system is kind of how it works. Definitely what I would say is the important thing for students to remember is to only apply to programs if you meet or exceed the eligibility requirements. What happens is a lot of students will kind of hear about these changes and then apply for programs that they're not even eligible for. And then sometimes that also leads to higher rejection rates, just simply because students are applying to programs that they didn't know they might not be eligible for.
Unfortunately, some of the popular programs like business, marketing, events management, they didn't make it to the PGWP eligible list. And it is simply because business, marketing, events management, they are not in high demand right now. But does it mean you shouldn't study those programs? And if you're already a student in one of those programs, should you switch? Well, here's the thing. As we can all see, things change rapidly with IRCC. They introduce new measures like all the time. So if your program is not in demand right now, it might get in demand. Like, I doubt with marketing and business, to be honest, but like with events, who knows?
Just to add some context, the reason that kind of business or marketing programs aren't aligning with the labor shortages is because there's just so many international students here in Canada already taking those programs. However, if you're taking a business program at a master's level or a bachelor's level, you won't really be impacted by these kind of new requirements. What we usually say is switching programs is actually something we don't always recommend. It sends a bit of a red flag to the IRCC because when you apply for your original study permit, you submit a statement of purpose explaining why the specific program that you are applying to works with your education pathway. So sometimes when you switch, it sends a message to the IRCC that it kind of goes against what you wrote on your permit application. All that being said, if you do want or need to switch, HELP will definitely help you out with that. And what we usually do is look at ways that switching your program can still align with your education pathway. So if you work with HELP from the very beginning, very few students, if any, actually end up switching their programs. And this is because the way that we look at kind of the education pathway as a whole is we almost work backwards. So we ask students about their end goal, whether that's PR in Canada, whether it's just to study here, get a job for a few years and then move back home to their home country, or whether it's just to study in Canada and then go back to their home country. So we really understand what the student's end goal is, and then we develop their best path for success. So really with students working with HELP, unless the student changes their goal halfway through the program that they're already taking, they'll kind of always be on the right path. If you do need to switch your program, like I said, whether it's because it doesn't really align with your goals or something is being affected by PGWP, we can definitely help you out. And what we'll do is just work to finesse the change in DLI or program to still fit with your education pathway that you kind of explained to the IRCC. What I would recommend as well is what students shouldn't do is kind of panic with some of these new IRCC changes that have recently come out in September and try and switch programs. If a student is already at their institution, then this change likely won't affect you. And then as well, if students apply for their study permit before November 1st, they will also not be affected by the changes as well.
As Alexa mentioned, fields like STEM, so science, technology, engineering, mathematics, healthcare, education, skilled trades, agriculture, transport are in high demand right now. And if you still want to study business or marketing, you can do so because students of bachelor's and master's degrees are exempt from the PGWP eligibility list. Or if your goal is to get an international degree, for example in Canada, you can always come study and then go to another country, go back to your country. That is always an option. But I know that the majority of you are moving to Canada to study, to get work experience and potentially get a PR, but in the new reality, PR is not guaranteed. I've taken a look at the jobs on the IRCC website, and it's not that bad, honestly. IT is still there, web design, multimedia, still there. I found some interesting jobs for you. For example, aromatherapist, herbalist, psychologist, couples counseling, lots of jobs in education and healthcare, agriculture. I mean, if you've always wanted to live on a farm and do some, agriculture stuff, welcome to Canada. And if you look at the scholarships offered by universities or even the government, they also prioritize those fields of study like STEM and healthcare. But does that mean that you should follow the in-demand path instead of following your dream?
My answer is honestly a little bit of both. So the purpose of this study permit pathway to Canada is to follow your passion and is to follow your education pathway. That being said, the government has kind of shown students the pathway that they prefer the student to take. You should definitely be following a pathway that matches with your previous education. So if you've already completed a bachelor's degree, pursue a master's degree that follows a similar path or is on a similar subject as your bachelor's degree. If you're coming from high school, it's definitely a lot easier to kind of follow your passion. But again, it also really depends on what your desired goal is or what you want your outcome to be. If your end goal is a path to permanent residency, which isn't guaranteed, but there are pathways that you can take that will set you up for better success in that path. And that would definitely be picking a program that is aligned with what the government has deemed labor shortages in Canada. However, if you really are just excited to study in Canada and your end goal might not necessarily be to get a permanent residency here, definitely follow your passion. Choose something that is something that interests you, that still aligns with the education that you've had previously. So a little bit of both, but your help coach can kind of help you determine how much of an in-demand program you would need versus how much we should kind of follow your passion, and they'll help you work towards your goal.
Studying in Canada is getting more expensive every year. Again, IRCC introduced those financial requirements, which are literally double from the previous requirements, which can be a real deal breaker for many students. So now is the time to tell you more about HELP. HELP is a trusted study abroad platform for students both in Canada and outside of Canada. HELP is completely free, no hidden charges, no deposit. You only pay what your college asks for or IRCC asks for. HELP has close relationships with colleges and universities across Canada, and they have helped thousands of students to come and study in Canada. Here's how it works. You create an account, and if you qualify, you get matched with a coach. You meet with your coach and determine your goals, your plan. You choose your programs, colleges, universities, and then you can start applying for those programs. HELP coaches can help you with anything from literally buying a SIM card to getting a scholarship. So if you have any questions, you can ask them. All of the coaches live in Canada, so they know what they're talking about. And on top of that, on HELP's platform, you can find different deals and offers. Again, financial aid, scholarships. So it's basically a hub if you want to study in Canada. So why should you choose HELP? As I've said before, HELP is free. Why not use the help of people who know what they're doing, who actually get students accepted into colleges and universities on a daily basis? HELP is fast and convenient. Some colleges, for example, like St. Lawrence College, can issue letters of acceptance in 3 days, in 72 hours. If you are in a rush, let's say now it's October and you want to study in January, St. Lawrence College can be a great option for you. Everything is done online from the comfort of your own phone or your laptop. All you need is your device and your documents, which are passport, transcript, and your English exam. That's it. And you know what? Let's ask Alexa. Maybe they have some special financial aid opportunities or scholarships or other promos available to you.
As for ongoing promos for international students, specifically for 2025, some of our really close partners have mentioned a few scholarships that they're offering. So St. Lawrence College is one of them. It's a beautiful college in Ontario. They have a $2,000 scholarship for students right now. Another one of our close partners, Niagara University of Ontario, they always are offering us some good scholarships as well. Some of our partners also offer free application fee waivers for HELP students. So universities like International Business University, Yorkville University, and a few others. And then as well, specifically with a lot of these changing IRCC policies, a lot of our close-knit partnerships have also offered very quick LOA or turnaround times for their letters of acceptances, and then also for 2025 for the PAL process as well. So universities and colleges like Northwest College in Alberta and Thompson Rivers University in BC have offered us some great LOAs. And really just as the intakes move on and as we move into 2025, more of our partners will offer different scholarships to help students. So if anyone ever wants to know what what scholarships or any discounts might be offered, they can always ask their coach.
Thanks a lot, Alexa and the help team, for helping me make this video. I feel like it could be really important for many international students who don't know what to do now with all these changes. If you have any questions for me or for Alexa, Help, you can leave them in the comments. And if you have used Help, let us know in the comments how it went. I wish you all the best with your studies in Canada. I know it's getting more difficult to study in Canada, but not impossible. That's it, that's all, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye!